This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. If you haven't seen this, unluckily for you, I'm about to play it for you. Every year, whenever Satanists are in the White House, usually decorate the White House. But this year, the Bidens decided to give new meaning to making the Yuletide gay. And I'm going to show you this video clip that Dr. Jill Biden, who I want to add, in no way, shape, or form is a witch. Anyone out there that says that this person is a witch is a bully and a bad, horrible person. So I want to make that clear for the algorithm that this is a wonderful person. And what I'm about to show you is absolutely embarrassing. This is humanity on display, but there's actually, what I took from it was some coding of some of the things that you're about to see, because they don't normally just do these types of things for no reason. Now, of course, we can look at it and say, this is what our world's become, where this is what's going on at the White House. It's embarrassing. It's just cringe beyond cringe. But there are some little things to look at, which I'll show you after the fact. So let's take a look. This was posted by the White House. Jill wrote, "A bit of magic, wonder, and joy, brought to you by the talented tappers of Durant's Dance, performing their playful interpretation of the Nutcracker suite." Of course, I covered that new Nutcracker, of course, with the rainbow flag and everything. It's wonderful. Get one for your whole family to enjoy. Crack some nuts with it, you know? And here we have them talking about magic, because that's what really all this stuff is about, is it not? But Jill's no witch. She's just a person whose husband happened to be elected and put into office so that they could, of course, sabotage the United States of America. Note, while you watch this clip, it's 2 minutes of total cringe, but I'm sure you might get a good laugh and just say, this is the world we live in now. When your leaders, while the world is in chaos, are doing this is what they're focusing on, is putting this together to put out to all of the peasants of the world. Of course, this is really directed towards the Democratic audience out there that is entertained and amused by this silliness. And it's not even silly, it's cringiness. And keep in mind that you won't really see too many white males in this video. You have people of color, and of course you have any white males you see. Well, you could take one guess as to what they're packing. I'm talking about fudge. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at the Biden's interpretation of making the Yuletide gay. So, of course, You look at that and you probably say to yourself, what in the world did I just look at? This is my taxpayer money? Yup, that's your taxpayer money at work. But even more so, there's a lot of other little things in there. Now, the Nutcracker, of course, is a play. And, well, you know, there's a plot to it about the Nutcracker and the Mouse King. And that's what I'm going to get into. Because there's this guy that they call the MAGA King in this country. And there's a lot of predictive programming around a assassination. Have you heard about that? No? Well, there's a lot of predictive programming. We've seen celebrities. I've done tons of montages. In fact, I have a montage on one of the channels here that I'm uploading on, where you can see Madonna, Johnny Depp, throw me another Satanist, Robert De Niro, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, all these people talking about ending the president. All stuff which in other time periods would have been considered threats and considered terroristic threat, in fact. But now the terroristic threat is if you're talking about 5G towers, chemtrails, or actually showing how they use these types of things to show you messaging and to show you coding. So some of the stuff that we see will show us what I believe, my interpretation of this, is not just that it's really gay. My interpretation of this is something to do with what I believe is eventually going to occur one time or another time, and that is the assassination of Donald Trump, which, of course, for those of you who might be stumbling upon my channel, I am not MAGA, I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, because none of it's real. And if you think it's real, well, keep telling yourself that, because that's kind of part of the reason we have this big problem going on right now, is because you think you're actually free when you're not free at all. These people are being hand-selected to be put into these positions, and what they're trying to do is herd you to put you into a deep psychosis, and we can clearly see that it works. So what we have here are two things, okay? The theme of the Nutcracker, the whole plot of the Nutcracker, if you've seen it, isn't just, you know, fruity dancing and people in ballerina dresses, okay? It has to do with the Nutcracker and the Mouse King, okay? And it's about a girl who befriends a Nutcracker that comes to life on Christmas Eve, Saturnalia, and wages a battle against the evil Mouse King. So eventually what we see is the Mouse King loses. The Mouse King is killed, depending on what depiction you see of the Nutcracker, maybe depending on what play you see. I don't know. There's lots of variations of it. But really, the story talks about the death of the Mouse King. And what we see in this depiction is interesting, because not only does the Mouse King, who clearly could be looked at in this as Donald Trump, based off of the fact that he's wearing a suit, right? And he's looking like some type of prominent figure. The fact that he's wearing a crown, and what does the Democratic Party, the communists in power, the communists around the globe, call Donald Trump? The MAGA King. And what is the viewpoint of Donald Trump? That he's a dictator, right? So as he's assassinated, what's interesting to note is what's right next to him. Because if you look closely, you will notice that there is a picture on the wall of Abraham Lincoln, right? One of our presidents who was assassinated. That's right there on the wall for everybody to see as he's holding his chest and falling to the ground and showing that he has been killed. So that's my interpretation of this. You can look at it any way you want to, but there's clearly meaning behind it. Now, I know people out there have been talking about this and saying how embarrassing it is. There's no doubt about that. That this isn't embarrassing even as an American. This is embarrassing as a human being, as a species of a human being, right? I mean, this is anywhere you live, whatever your politics are, it's humiliating. This is while our country continues to embarrass itself and fall on its knees, literally in more ways than one, we have our government putting stuff like this out on our taxpayer money, and we continue to allow it to occur. So another thing you'll note in this video, in addition to the Mouse King's quote-unquote assassination, death, whatever you want to look at it as, is that they're dancing on the checkerboard floor. Now, the checkerboard floor I always cover in Freemasonry, the duality as above, so below, the black and white checkerboard floor. The red and white checkerboard floor represents sacrifice. That's what it represents. So a lot of times I've covered in the past music videos where somebody that would have been close to them had conveniently just died, and then a celebrity's just randomly walking on red and white checkerboard floors, letting you know, anyone out there in the know, which isn't many people, but letting the people in the secret societies know, because they could communicate through signs and symbols, that they had in fact made a sacrifice, a ritual sacrifice. And usually they'll be able to figure out who it is because it's usually somebody close to them. You probably have already heard about it in the news, or some type of, a child inside their body that they miscarry. Those types of things. They always seem to happen around these people conveniently. So the red and white Masonic checkerboard floor, along with the, with Abraham Lincoln right over the fireplace. Now you could say, well, Abraham Lincoln's picture's always over the fireplace. Well, everything they do is staged and strategically. Okay, everything. No, somebody just randomly filmed this. This isn't like you're making a commercial for your local car dealership and you just open up the yellow pages or go on a Google search and try to find somebody for cheap, a videographer to film your wedding even. Nothing even even close to that. This is the White House, okay? You're not allowed to get near these people unless you're one of these people. And anyone who's a director or producer in the know always shows us signs, symbols, and codes. So they just roll somebody in there and just say, do what you want. Let's look embarrassing, right? They know that everybody's viewpoint of this is just to laugh at it and just say, oh, this is what America's become. Because they're deliberately doing this so that you're not surprised when this whole thing blows up, when this whole thing tumbles, right? The fall of the empire, right? The video I did earlier today about the Civil War. If you didn't see it, check it out. People said they're not getting their notifications. Make sure you check every day because I have multiple videos going up every day. I'm in overdrive here. So even behind Trump, of course, you have the pentagrams. I'm sorry, Trump. I'm saying the Mouse King, the MAGA King, right? I mean, oops. I don't know what I was thinking. You also had, pentagrams and, you could even see pyramids and other parts of the video clip. So obviously, I'm showing you this because it's humiliating, but I'm also showing it to you for you to interpret it how you want to. Now, if you're somebody who's into coding, gematria, and numerology, there's a lot of coding with numbers in the background. So if you like to dissect those types of things, I highly recommend you go through it because they're using the 25 days of 25 days of Christmas, of course. And instead of having it, they're having it sporadically moved around the room. So there could be potential dates in there for some type of a fake assassination. There could be some type of dates in there for something else. It'd be interesting to note, so anybody will want to file it away in their memory. When an event does go down, we might see the numbers. 13 was prominently flashed in there. That we all know that they always use the number 13 and 33, right? They weren't really able to use 33 because, well, there's no number 33. It only goes up to, 31 days in December on the, the Advent calendar always up to 25 because they're pretending they're doing like the 12 days, 25 days of Christmas, whatever that gimmick is. But I'm sure if they did put the number 33 on the calendar, but most of these people wouldn't even realize that there's not 33 days in a month because they have no idea what's going on. And they're the type of people who are entertained by that type of clip. And then they hear people like us and they're like, these guys are crazy. They're conspiracy nut jobs. They think that the government release that to entertain them, to tickle their fancy, so to speak, right? That's as far as their brains allow them to think. So they see something embarrassing and pathetic like that, and they're like, oh, it's interesting. I wish she could have decorated the colors of the tree differently. And then I'm not even kidding you. Okay, I'll continue this rant. I'm not even kidding you. I saw people on Twitter and stuff who were making fun of this because they were arguing that Melania Trump decorated better. This is what the Republicans and the Democrats are busy doing. As all the signs are around us that this grid's going off, the shortages of food, the chemical bombs on these trains going off, people's houses blowing up, and everyone's, whoa, did you see oh, it's so embarrassing that the White House is releasing that. Melania's is better. And then everything with the left and right, every little thing they could bicker about. It's unbelievable. It just shows you that they're never going to side on anything, especially if people are defending this, or what your politics are. So it's humiliating. This country is it's a laughing stock. It's become a laughing stock on purpose because we were once the mega power in the view of most of the other countries because we had a lot more rights mainly than a lot of other countries. Other countries already had given up their rights to, bear arms, et cetera, et cetera. Well, now, in the last 8 years, they've managed to pretty much strip us of all of our rights, put in red flag laws, obviously remove free speech. I mean, this isn't even a debate. This is insanity what's going on here. And then the government does what? They smile at you and they release something like this and say, Merry Christmas. They're telling you something's coming. Something is coming. And everybody out there, everybody can feel it. And even when it hits for some of them out there, they will believe whatever narrative they're fed because they will never think deeper than they could possibly, they'll never think deeper than their technology. They'll never ever question anything, and whatever they're force fed, they'll eat and consume because they're useless eaters. So tell me what you think from that clip, other than the fact that, it took gay to a new level over at 666 Pennsylvania Avenue. Other than that, though, Did anything with the numerology that you guys saw? I'm curious to know. And of course, what's your take on the potential assassination? I mean, I know the plot. I get it. With the Nutcracker. I get it. The plot is that. But this isn't like a tradition where every year the president puts out a video of the Nutcracker being done in the White House. They chose the Nutcracker. Okay? They usually just show you a walkthrough of the decorations away, which is new too. That's not some old thing they used to do. They just started doing that type of stuff, to kind of pander to the idiots out there that care about decorating and all that stuff, that are obsessed with it, that don't even know what's going on in the world. So it's not like it's a tradition and they just carried out the tradition. And no, it's not. So they randomly picked it where they have the Mouse King, and you could see him holding the dagger in his heart, the sword in his heart, and falling right in front of Abe Lincoln, where they clearly staged it to have it be right in front of Abe Lincoln, who's known for what? No, not freeing the slaves. Abe Lincoln's known for being assassinated, supposedly, of course, in a movie theater, but that's not even the real story. None of the stories we know are actually real stories about who did and what their motive were. That's for sure. But the only thing that would have been a little bit more suspicious if they had JFK's picture up over the fireplace. Then maybe people actually might have woke up. But, everything's subtle. But it's not. Really, if you actually look at it and stop thinking the way they want you to think, which is not at all, and saying, oh, they're just embarrassing us, putting out this stupid thing and our tax money's paying for it. They're telling you what they're doing. This is how universal law works. They tell us what they're going to do before they actually do it. And that's what predictive programming really is about. It's not just about desensitizing you and prepping you. They tell us all this stuff. And they get away with telling all this stuff because they've figured a way around universal law with God and the devil. They've figured out a way where they can deemly say that this is a fair fight, where all this stuff is out there freely for people to consume and understand right from wrong, God from the devil. But they manipulate everything, and they silence a lot of people. They obviously silence me. They silence you. So they look at this stuff and they're like, yeah, well, look, we're showing them what we're going to do to Trump. I mean, he's the king. He's the MAGA king, right? And everyone just sees it. They think it's like the Rat King from Ninja Turtles or whatever this thing is. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.